Think what you feel what you understand, and understand what you think. I want you all to take a moment and think about what can be your thoughts on thoughts. Sounds weird, right? While you think about thinking yours, here I am to share my thoughts on thoughts. Let's simply start with what actually are thoughts and how they are produced. If I go by the standard and bookish definition, a thought encompasses an aim oriented flow of ideas and associations that can lead to reality oriented conclusions. Now I know it sounds complicated, and I bet you all are confused. But to understand what thoughts actually are, we need to break this down step by step. In my opinion, thoughts are simply judgments given by mind and soul. If I think in a more biological way, I know that thoughts are electronic signals or hallucinations produced by the human brain. Thoughts actually are the realignment of electrons in our nervous system, usually known as electrical signals. These electrical signals lead to reality oriented conclusions. I know some of you might be wondering what I mean by reality oriented conclusions. And yes, as much as it sounds eerie, it's true. It simply means that the flow of signals, or say the flow of thoughts in our mind, leads the ideas into a realized conclusion. We for a fact know that we have a tendency to get more negative thoughts than positive ones. So if all our thoughts were going to be end up into a realized conclusion, then 60% of the population would have been considered as people of interest or criminal minds. This was all the factual and analytical data. But as for me, I believe that we are something beyond the structural mind and body. Calm your mind and your soul may speak. Soul. Yes, I know this is something a lot of you may not believe in, but I fancy the idea of the existence of soul. This part might sound silly to all the anti souls here. I mentioned that thoughts are simply judgments given by a mind and soul. To be more precise, I think thoughts are what we refer to as the inner voice. What is the inner voice? If someone told me to define it, I don't think I'll be able to give a structural definition because we all think differently. My inner voice tells me what my soul wants me to hear. It is a famous saying that follow your heart. What does it mean? It tells us to listen to what our soul wants. A body without soul is like a book without text, and without the inner voice, we are just Homo sapiens. The inner voice is what I believe gives away the tiny signals that give rise to beautiful and great thoughts, and our soul is what makes us amazing thinkers. Now, my curiosity led me to a question. Is thought reading possible? I mean, nothing is impossible. So let's broaden our minds and imagine if it was possible. If I could read other people's thoughts, specifically those who are present here, I'm sure I would get results like, she's so boring, oh God, save me, and whatnot. Mind reading can also be referred to as telepathy, which is the transfer of information between individuals through means other than the five senses. How in the world can that happen? I mean, legend says there is a sixth sense, but is there really a sixth one? That's the actual question. And yes, I do believe in what legend says, but only about a few things. You've got to be a demiurge to be able to do that. It is not easy to trace someone's thought, like you cannot tell what they're thinking and how their thought is beginning and ending. It's like asking where an infinity is starting and ending. There are some people who claim that they can read people's minds. And yes, all the people can read thoughts, but to some extent. I think you can read thoughts of a person you know well. Not exactly what the person is thinking, but at least have an idea about it. For example, say if it's your best friend and you're conversing with someone, and that someone tells you about one of his expeditions, and you know that the person is lying. Then your best friend will have an idea of what you're thinking because he or she knows you very well. Another rumor I've heard about mind reading is that machines can read minds. Well, in my opinion, it doesn't seem possible unless miracles actually start happening. Machines cannot really read thoughts, but can detect when a specific neural path is activated. But it's on you of what you believe. The greatest prison we live in is the fear of what other people think. I mean, weapons are dangerous, words are really powerful, but those four people judging you is way worse. And I know we all have experienced it once in our life. And you know, sorry. People's thoughts is what affects us the most, But let me tell you, those are people's opinions, not thoughts, because we are not demiurges to have that capability. Thoughts are the ideas that we hold in our mind, and opinions are like the past bills or judgments. As you might know that I'm a reader, like I love to read books, not because I don't have my own opinions and thoughts, but because I want to understand others. I personally think that books are partially thoughts and partially opinions of the writer. It is astonishing that there are people who bleed on the paper in an extraordinary way. The thoughts and opinions do not always leave a good impression because we all think differently and have different opinions. Thoughts also define our dreams, and these dreams result in our productivity. The thesis is that being productive can depend on your thoughts. Suppose I have a dream to start a business of my own. Now I think of times when I'll be successful, earn bundles of money, and think that my business will be very fruitful for me. These thoughts will make me work harder each day. And to achieve my goals, I choose to think about these kind of thoughts again and again. And this will result in my success. So your productivity is directly proportional to your thoughts that define your goals or are related to your goals. But it's obvious that a person cannot get only positive thoughts all the time. Therefore, the question is, how do the negative thoughts affect us? Negative thoughts are the bricks that help you to construct your dreams. Nowadays, psychologists believe that being a pessimist or getting a lot of negative thoughts is actually really good. And seriously, I'm not joking. I do believe in this theory that negative thoughts are stronger and better. Why? The reason is very simple. Negative thoughts make us more cautious and help us to make the minimum mistakes in the task. Imagine that you're about to attend an important meeting and are getting negative thoughts like what if something goes wrong? What if I speak something I'm not supposed to, etc., etc. But all these thoughts will lead to you being careful. Before this even started, I was really nervous. I was also getting a lot of negative thoughts, and 100 more what ifs were going through my head. But these negative thoughts made me more precautious and encouraged me to give my best. This is why negative thoughts are important, along with positive thoughts. It is a very common misconception that when we get a lot of negative thoughts, we assume that we are overthinking. That is not what happens. There is a dissimilarity in negative thinking and overthinking. Negative thinking is focusing on the negative aspects, or say negative thoughts that you get. Negative thinking is like the side effect of a medicine. On the other hand, overthinking is like dwelling on a problem and getting stressed because of that. Overthinking is what makes you more and more anxious. Everybody is an overthinker. We all overthink stuff and we overthink by thinking that we are overthinking. Confusing, but it's true. Thoughts are what motivate us, but opinions give rise to criticism. Motivation is our inner strength. It is what helps us climb the ladder of glory. Our thoughts, positive and negative, directly or indirectly, motivate us to do things, to perform better, and increase our productivity. But this world is crucial. We have to be sharp like the tip of the sword to be able to pierce through each difficulty. The opinions of other people is one of the main reasons of our downfall. Opinions give rise to criticism. I agree that criticism is good, but up to only some extent, and it depends from person to person on how we take those words that may dear us. Thoughts and opinions are both really important for us. They're the secrets to one's victory. As Gautam Buddha said, all that we are arises with our thoughts. With our thoughts, we make the world. Thank you.